You have this growing list of Democratic lawmakers publicly calling for him to step aside. You have donations to the Biden campaign dropping off. And now we're told from sources close to the campaign, some of the people closest to the president, that they are privately admitting there is no clear path to victory with him at the top of the ticket. A person close to the president telling NBC News, quote, "We're close to the end." Someone close to the campaign saying they're finally realizing it. It's a when, not if.
Joe Biden is facing a new wave of calls for him to drop out of the race, and some reporting indicates that he's finally coming to terms with the fact that he may have to step aside. But at the same time, his campaign is sending a totally different message and remains defiant in public. Before we get to that, let's talk about the many additional lawmakers who have asked Joe Biden to step aside just in the past 24 hours. Representative Seth Moulton of Massachusetts, who had called for him to step aside previously, published an op-ed joining those calls and expressing concerns about his mental capabilities. He called Biden his mentor and friend and recounted a recent incident. "I saw him in a small group at Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. For the first time, he didn't seem to recognize me. Of course, that can happen as anyone ages. But as I watched the disastrous debate a few weeks ago, I have to admit that what I saw in Normandy was part of a deeper problem." Also today, Senator Martin Heinrich of New Mexico became the third Senate Democrat to publicly ask Biden to withdraw from the presidential race. He joins Senator Peter Welch of Vermont and Senator Jon Tester of Montana. But we have breaking news, because just minutes ago, another senator has called for Joe Biden to step aside. Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio, who is in a tight race against Bernie Moreno, a Republican challenger, for an absolutely pivotal Senate seat. Sherrod Brown is the only Democrat who has won statewide in Ohio in over a decade. So that is absolutely critical, monumental announcement from Sherrod Brown. 4 other House Democrats released a joint statement this morning calling for Biden to step aside. Democratic reps Jared Huffman, Mark Veazey, Chuy Garcia, and Mark Pocan declared their great admiration for Biden, but said it was time for him to pass the torch to a new generation of Democratic leaders. They wrote, "At this point, we must face the reality that widespread public concerns about your age and fitness are jeopardizing what should be a winning campaign. We believe the most responsible and patriotic thing you can do in this moment is to step aside as our nominee while continuing to lead our party from the White House." Throughout the day, 11 House Democrats made calls for Biden to step aside, and that includes Zoe Lofgren, Betty McCollum, Morgan McCarthy, and Greg Landsman, and others. Overall, 35 Democrats on the Hill have called for Biden to drop out. And according to some reporting, those close to Biden are starting to come around. Members of President Joe Biden's family have discussed what an exit from his campaign might look like, according to 2 people familiar with the discussions. They have specifically discussed how he would want to end his reelection bid on his own timing and with a carefully calculated plan in place. But publicly, his campaign denies any such discussions or considerations. White House spokesman Andrew Bates said, "This is not happening, period. The individuals making those claims are not speaking for his family or his team, and they will be proven wrong. Keep the faith." And here is what Biden campaign manager Jen O'Malley Dillon told Morning Joe. Take a look.
Absolutely, the president's in this race. You've heard him say that time and time again. I'm not here to say that this hasn't been a tough several weeks for the campaign. There's no doubt that it has been. And we've definitely seen some slippage in support, but it has been a small movement. He's absolutely in it. He's got to show that he is fighting for the American people. He's done that day in and day out since the debate. The president is the leader of our campaign and of the country, and he is clearly, in our impression and what we've built and in our engagement with voters, he's the best person to take on Donald Trump and prosecute that case and present his vision versus what we saw last night.
And today, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries confirmed to reporters that he's sticking with the Biden-Harris ticket, calling Joe Biden our nominee. Cenk, you seem pretty confident, though, that Joe Biden is going to step aside. Do these comments from his campaign staff, from his allies, make you feel any differently?
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
No, not at all. But where you are going to see a difference is not on whether he drops out, it's on when he drops out. So he should have dropped out approximately 3 weeks ago, but he keeps hanging on, and every day his so-called legacy gets worse. Between you and me, I say this on air. I don't give a damn about his legacy. Like everybody in Washington is, oh my God, people are being disrespectful to the president, and we have to care so much about his feelings. No, we don't. We have to care about winning. Okay, your wages, your health care, your lives are on the line. I don't care about, was it the powerful? What about their feelings? And it's his feelings that are making him stay in there. I want to be the guy who beats him. I mean, look at that thing that Jen O'Malley Dillon said at the end there, that we're sure that he's the best candidate to beat Trump. How could you possibly say that? I mean, that's just saying, if that's true, the rest of the Democratic Party is in massive trouble. None of the Democrats can walk. None of the Democrats can talk. I mean, you guys saw that clip of him getting off the plane. I saw another clip where it took him 45 seconds to get into a car. He can barely walk. These people are, I mean, look, now that the gaslighting has worn off for 65% of Democratic voters, and the rest of the country already knew it, right? They're beginning to see how much they were gaslit and how much the powerful paint a picture that has no connection to actual objective reality. But yesterday, as we were doing the coverage of the RNC, we laid out a marker. We said John Tester has now come out and said that he's not supporting Biden and he should drop out because he's running in a red state, Montana. And we said, now the real test will be Sherrod Brown because he's also in a very tough race in Ohio, which at this point is basically a red state. But Sherrod Brown has won there many, many years in a row. And he's a party loyalist. So if Sherrod Brown comes out, what that means is again, it's like the 88th piece of evidence that it's over. And because a party loyalist wouldn't do that otherwise. And B, it's almost the Biden team letting the vulnerable senators come out and say he should drop out before he drops out. So they could say, what do you mean? I called for him to drop out. I saw what was happening. I saw the reality, because they're worried about the Republican ads that are going to say, when did these liars know about Joe Biden's condition? And how long did they keep it hidden? So it's imperative for all these guys to come out before Biden drops out to say, I was honest about it, man, even though they're doing it at the last second. And that's politics. And to that point, when I started the day, there was 23 congressmen, the first article I read, who were asking Biden to drop out. Next time I looked, there was 28, and now there's 35. So as I've been telling you, this thing is definitely over. He has no chance of winning, and they definitely realize that, and the donor money's gone, Congress is gone, no hope, no prayer. He cannot win this on his own without his own party backing him. He's just dragging it out because of his colossal Uranus-sized ego. Curious planet to choose.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the polling shows that he is not helping, that down ballot, these senators who are in tough races are actually ahead. And yet Biden is behind in their same states. That means he's not gonna be helping them in their race. And obviously Sherrod Brown is a perfect indicator for that. I think just stepping back a little bit, I think what a lot of people are upset about is that some of the same centrists that were circling wagons around Joe Biden a year ago and were telling us, no, there's nothing to be concerned about, just basically are now back saying, actually, no, we were wrong. There is something to be concerned about. And I think rightfully, a lot of us progressives mistrust centrists. We mistrust centrist pundits. We even mistrust a lot of centrist polls. Hello, 2016. And my theory on this, and I know you guys, because of your steadfast coverage and the way you guys have been covering it, maybe you agree. But my theory is that, look, there was a war and a genocide to support for the last 9-10 months and ongoing. And I think that a lot of those critics shut up when we decided to throw down down with Israel and in killing Palestinians. And then after the debate, it became way too obvious, and a lot of those folks thought that this whole, war in Gaza would be over by now, that they're now feel safe and more comfortable to actually speak up about it. Now, I'm not saying any of these centrists care about Palestinians, but I'm saying it's why they shut up about what they were seeing, save a couple of them. I think Ezra Klein was very open about this, even early on last year. But so I think that's rubbing a lot of progressives the wrong way. The other thing I want to say is it's about how. I agree with you. The writing's on the wall. It's how. If you ask me, it has to be an endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris. The way you protect your legacy is by actually handing the keys to your vice, someone who's been there by your side. And that is going to be really important if you're going to stand on some of the successes that the Biden administration has had, whether around labor, climate change, student debt relief, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But as we'll get to, that might not really be the case. And I'm fascinated for if it is not the case.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It has to be. It has to be her. Well, I want to save my comments on that for our next story.
Nope. Don't agree.
I feel like
Don't
that'll
agree
be good.
at all. No.
Just hold it. Just hold it.
Okay.
I know you've got a lot. Just hold it in. But on the Senate races, I think that's a great point. And what we saw from them was just the most obvious, transparent gaslighting, and that is starting to emerge in comments from White House staffers, from campaign officials, anonymously, of course. But Axios has been working their relationships, and people inside the campaign and in the White House are just saying, like, this is ridiculous. You withheld his condition from us for months, maybe longer, and then he gets embarrassed on the debate stage. Like, what is happening here? Now you're telling us everything's fine, it's an isolated incident. It's clearly not. And I'm with you 100%, Francesca. I wish it was Gaza that was the catalyst for this, but I don't even think they would. If the debate debacle didn't happen, I don't think we would be having this conversation at all. I just don't even think that was even a factor in their minds, because they are so callous, so bloodthirsty. I don't know. They're totally okay with murder. They wouldn't bat an eye.
And yet it still is a factor. It's still a factor in keeping people from the polls in November. It's a factor for us who pay attention.
Sure.
It's not a factor for the elite.
Yeah, no, guys. Yeah, let's be clear. So two different things here that Jordan mentioned that are important. First of all, without the debate, would Joe Biden still have lost if they had no debates at all, and the media never acknowledged, the politicians never acknowledged the state that Joe Biden has been in for a long time, right? They would have gone with Joe Biden all the way. They wouldn't have cared at all because they were keeping him hidden. They all knew. Nancy Pelosi knew. All the people that work with him knew. Come on, they can see every day that he can't talk, he can't walk, he can't finish any sentences, and they deal with him all the time. But they were going to keep all that from you, and they were just going to have him go down an assembly line, and they thought they were going to win that way. But the problem with the debate for them had, of course, nothing to do with policy, nothing. Because these guys, look, these are stuff that on cable news or in Washington, they would take great offense at. But sorry if the truth offends you. These politicians are widgets. They're just widgets for donors. Look, Biden's not in charge. Is Biden setting policy right now? He can barely think. No, the administrative state handles this, and the bureaucracy just does whatever the donors program the machine to do. So they don't care if it's Joe Biden or some other widget, right? But they're like, oh, this widget, people found out it's defective, so let's get rid of it and put in another widget. But the policy will always remain the same. There was no one who actually objected to what he was doing in Gaza. And now, I'm sorry, but it's heartbreaking, but it's true. The progressives who pretended to care the most about Gaza, all of a sudden are backing Biden the most. Why? What kind of maniacal twist is this? And then that's progressives basically raising their hand and saying, we didn't really care, we were just playing. So now that this guy who we said was, we were troubled about the genocide that he was causing, now they're like, rah, rah, stay in, Joe Biden. Why? No one cares about policy in Washington. No one. And it's heartbreaking, but it's true. So, and look at what his campaign manager said on MSNBC there. She said, yeah, there's been some slippage, but it's around the numbers that it was before. You know why? Because he had already hit rock bottom. He was already at 36% approval rating. This is what I've been telling you for a year straight. He's been at 36%, going up and down a little bit, but right around that number for a year now. 36% is disastrous. He didn't go that much. He went down, but not that much down because he didn't have much down to go. He's already at the bottom. He never had a chance of winning. He was always this old. The actual non-political people in this country, the ones that decide elections, had already 7 out of 10 of them before the debate thought he was way, way, way too old. The only thing that was keeping him in the race was the assembly line of widgets. Okay, God, keep moving along, and they're all gonna do the same thing no matter what. So look, the good news is now in the list of Congress people that Jordan read to you earlier is an interesting variety. What was keeping him partially afloat was him hiding behind identity politics, even though he's an old white male. He's a Congressional Black Caucus, Congressional Hispanic Caucus. You're gonna be racist if you're against me, right? Oldest trick in the book for establishment Democrats. But now the people that came out, first one from the Congressional Black Caucus, several from Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and now he's beginning to lose the Congressional Progressive Caucus, the people who should have lost in the first place. But again, don't think that it's, the timing, because Mark Halperin had this story about, oh man, John Meacham's already writing his exit speech, and then John Meacham came out and said, that's totally false. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, right? And I just wanna say, hey, so you gotta keep pushing, guys. So tyt.com/campaign/dropout. The link is always in the description box, tyt.com/campaigns/dropout. Go, Joe, you gotta go, Joe. You gotta go, and you gotta go yesterday. Because every day is a day wasted. We gotta pick a new candidate that could beat Trump. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.